dear children. Today we are here with the second part of the lesson, The Sound of Music, that is the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. I hope children you all remember what all we have studied in the first part of this lesson. In the first part of this lesson we have studied about the life of Evelyn Glennie. I hope you remember Evelyn Glennie is a percussion musician who earned many awards, name and fame, and led her life according to her own. Okay children, today we'll start the second part, the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Let's see what's in the chapter. First of all, before beginning the lesson, we'll discuss the theme of this lesson. The theme says the lesson is written on the theme that music transcends all barriers. The author's focus on Bismillah Khan's achievements in the field of classical Shehnai music reveal how this great musician's life was devoted to his passion for Shehnai. The life of this legendary musician is an example of the rich cultural heritage of India that respects talent, irrespective of the religion of the artist. Children, actually this lesson talks us about the origin of a musical instrument, Shehnai, and how this was an improved version of a musical instrument, Pungi. Earlier, in the time of the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, Pungi was in use, but on the announcement, on the order of this Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, Pungi was banned. But later on, a new version of Pungi came, that was the Shehnai. So we'll learn how this Shehnai came into use and how this was named. Then we'll read about the legendary musician Bismillah Khan, who brought Shehnai on the stage and to everyone, to every citizen of India. And then onwards, Shehnai became popular. And his great love for Shehnai Vadan, his hard work, his dedication for Shehnai Vadan earned him the most cherished awards like Bharat Ratna and others. Alright. One more thing is highlighted by the author of this lesson is the great love of Bismillah Khan for the banks of Ganga in Banaras and his patriotic devotion to India. So children, this is also a very beautiful chapter, very beautiful lesson, because here we learn about the life of the legendary musician Bismillah Khan. Let's see what is the lesson about. So when you open your textbook, you'll find these lines written on the top. So first of all, we'll read these lines. Before you read, do you know these people? What instruments do they know? Do they play? You can see a few pictures given at the very first page, and these are the pictures of the musicians with their instruments. Think of the Shehnai and the first thing you'll probably imagine is a wedding or a similar occasion or function. The next would probably be Ustad Bismillah Khan, the Shehnai maestro, playing this instrument. When you look at the picture, you come to know that among all these there is one picture of Ustad Bismillah Khan, who used to play Shehnai. And as soon as you listen to the name Shehnai, one more name suddenly comes in your mind, that is wedding. Because Shehnai has always been the indispensable part of Indian weddings, especially the weddings in North India. So children, the next thing, we'll talk about the life of Bismillah Khan in the chapter. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called Pungi in the royal residence for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. Actually, earlier, before Shehnai, a musical instrument was in use that was called Pungi. But it was banned by Aurangzeb, saying he actually said that Pungi had a shrill voice. Shrill is a sharp voice that was quite unpleasant. So he banned Pungi, the use of pungi. Pungi became the generic name for reeded noisemakers. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. Pungi is the name that is given to all the instruments that are made with the use of reed. Okay? And that time when it was banned by the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, no one thought that one day some other version of the same musical instrument will be revived. No one thought. A barber of a family, revived means it will come again in life. Come again to life, come again to use. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. Actually, this happened that there was a barber who belonged to the family of musicians. That means in the family of barber, there were many musicians. That's why he had an access to the royal court. So he decided to change the version of that pungi. Decided to improve the tonal quality. Tonal quality is the sound quality of pungi. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi and made 7 holes onto the body of that pipe. So what did he do to improve the sound quality of pungi? He actually took one more hollow pipe. Hollow pipe is the one that is empty from inside. So he took one hollow pipe and in that pipe 7 holes were made by this man, by this barber. Alright. When he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. And when he started playing on it, he was surprised. At the same time, he was happy too, because a beautiful sound was coming, a beautiful music was coming through the holes, through the stem, through the pipe. He played the instrument before royalty and everyone was impressed. Royalty is before the emperor in the royal court. So he played it before many people and they all were impressed with the beautiful sound of this instrument. The instrument, so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name. Now they decided, they thought that the name should be given to this, some name should be given to this instrument. As the story goes, since it was first played in the Shah's chambers and was played by a nai. I hope children you know very well that barber in Hindi is called a nai. So how did they give this instrument a name? Because this was for the first time it was played in the chamber in the court of a king, that in Hindi or in Urdu was said Shah. And because this was made by a nai, a barber, so the instrument was named the Shehnai. Alright children? Okay, let's move on to the next paragraph now. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. And from then onwards, the sound of the Shehnai was considered to be auspicious. Auspicious means promising of bringing good fortune to people. And because of this reason, because the sound produced by this Shehnai was considered auspicious, that is why it was played in temples, in weddings. In the past, the Shehnai was part of the Naubat or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. Actually, gradually what happened, this Shehnai became to be a very, very important instrument even in the court of emperors, even the court of kings. So there was a group of instruments that in Urdu is called Naubat, which means the group of instruments. So this Shehnai was also a very important part of that group of instruments. Till recently it was used only in temples and weddings. And from then onwards, the musicians started the use of Shehnai, and till recently it was used in temples and most of the weddings in North India. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. Although there was the use of this shehnai in temples and weddings, but the whole credit of bringing this musical instrument to the stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. I hope children this is clear. Let's move on to the next paragraph. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played gilli danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Dumrao in Bihar. So in the state of Bihar, when this musician Bismillah Khan was a small child, nearly 5 years old when he used to play the game like gilli danda. Generally in the village, children play this game. Near a pond in the ancient estate of Dumrao. He belonged to Dumrao, that is a place in Bihar. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaja. And there he had a habit to go to temple, and there he used to sing Chaita. And after singing this Bhojpuri song, Bhojpuri bhajan, he used to get a laddu. The weight of that laddu was 1.25 kg, and this was given as a prize to this little child by the Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy had travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. And in this way, he started his journey of singing, of going to temples, of playing music, and this continued for many years. He travelled from that small journey from his house to the Bihariji temple. He continued his journey to far off places, to many places, and he earned the highest civilian awards in India like the Bharat Ratna. I hope children this is clear. Okay, now we'll move on to the next paragraph. Born on 21st March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. Actually, this boy, we have already discussed in the previous paragraph that this small boy, this great legendary musician belonged to the place Dumrao in Bihar. And he belonged to a well-known family of musicians. That means in his family, many great musicians were there. His grandfather Rasul Baksh Khan was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur King's court. His grandfather was also a great musician, and he was employed in the Bhojpur King's court. His father Paigambar Baksh and other paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. That means his family was full of great musicians. Let's move on to the next one. The young boy took to music early in life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice the shehnai. Actually, when he was 3 years old, his mother took him to Banaras. Banaras was the house of his mother. So he went there, and when he saw his maternal uncle, actually maternal uncle is the one who is the uncle from the mother's family, and paternal uncle is the one who is the uncle from the father's family. Alright? That time when he was 3 years old, he saw that his maternal uncle was practicing to play shehnai. And he, as a child, he was very much fascinated to see how beautifully his uncle was playing on shehnai. So soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Baksh to the Vishnu temple of Banaras, where Baksh was employed to play the shehnai. So he was so fascinated, he was so attracted when he heard the music produced by shehnai that he accompanied his uncle. He started going with his uncle to the Vishnu temple in Banaras. Ali Bakhsh would play the Shehnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. And when he would go with his uncle to the Vishnu temple of Banaras, he used to enjoy the music that was produced by the Shehnai. All the while the uncle used to play Shehnai and the child used to enjoy that music in the temple. And then onwards, slowly he started practicing Shehnai himself. He started to learn how to play music by using this Shehnai. I hope this is clear. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maiya and the banks of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts, where he could practice in solitude. And he continued his practice from then onwards. From the Vishnu temple he started practicing Shehnai and he continued that practice. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maiya and the banks of Ganga, these three places were the favorite places of Bismillah Khan. He used to go to these places and practiced for long hours. He would practice in solitude. So, solitude is loneliness. He would be all alone there and he used to practice Shehnai. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas. See children, he was so dedicated to his work, he was so dedicated to his passion that whenever he was alone sitting at the banks of Ganga practicing Shehnai, he used to improvise the ragas. Ragas are the musical notes. So he used to improve the notes, he used to even invent the new ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. That means he invented the new ragas which could be played with the use of Shehnai, which could be played at Shehnai, which was earlier considered to be beyond the reach of this instrument. I hope children all the paragraphs which have been taught today are clear to all of you. The theme is clear and the three most important things are which have been discussed throughout the chapter is, one is the origin of Shehnai, the second is the hard work and the journey of this legendary musician Bismillah Khan, and the third that the author talks about is the patriotic devotion of this legendary musician. So children, we'll continue in the next lecture.